Soviet Union has decided to transform Cuba into a base for communist aggression, into a base for putting all of the Americas under the nuclear gun.
This feels different, doesn't it?
These are uncertain times. We all need to be prepared.
Dad, did you hear about those radar lines? Sounds like Canada's playing a pretty big role.
Those lines are our first lines of defense. You got them up in Sydney, out in Beaverbank, up in Barrington, I think.
Is that where all the soldiers were?
No, soldiers, they're working on a different project, I think. Out in Debert, up by Truro.
Keep it moving, keep it moving. All arrivals must report to decontamination immediately.
Last night I checked into the Regional Emergency Government Headquarters in Debert, Nova Scotia. More simply put, it's an underground nuclear fallout shelter that would have been used for the continuity of government if there was a nuclear disaster. Now, these bunkers were across Canada, and they were called the Diefenbunkers, and they were nicknamed after the Prime Minister, John Diefenbunker. As Cold War relics go in Nova Scotia, this one's the big one. Now, one thing I'm really falling in love with already are the hallways here. They're long, they're daunting. It's like a maze where each corridor leads to the next. Today, I'm meeting up with my good friend Andre, who's going to help me better understand the Diefenbunker itself and hopefully walk me through the different processes and steps if I was evacuated to one during an emergency.
I'm kind of a nerd for Cold War stuff. I mean, it was such a huge part of human history and sort of gripped the world for decades. So because of that, I feel like it's something important to learn about and to pass on the information of, and, you know, make sure the new generations know about it as well.
Well, that's like an interesting part because I always knew it as gripped the world for decades, but I'm starting to learn about our history and how it like gripped our communities. Like the very fact that this exists goes to show that like, oh, the Cold War wasn't just always in Europe. It wasn't just always in Ottawa. We have history right here in Nova Scotia. So I love that.
There's a lot of history here, and it's very cool that we have a monument to it like this right in our own community.
Well, talk about monuments, and I'm going to get a little tacky here, but I know this is not Antique Roadshow, but Andre, this is awesome. What am I looking at here?
Well, sir, you are looking at the brains of this entire operation. This 64,000 square foot facility is all operated right here. This is the brains of the operation. Every aspect of this facility and what it does is controlled by this very control panel.
So I was at the museum yesterday, and they had similar panels to this. So like that knob there. So if I was to put my...
This isn't like the museum one. This one's actually operational.
Okay.
You see, this one is controlling this entire facility. If you hit any button or switch and we don't catch which one it is and fix it in time, this could throw everything out of whack.
Okay, so I could turn on my vacuum at home right now on my phone. Like, why not change this to like an iPad at this point?
Well, why not digitize Big Ben? Or why not have the RCMP drive around on scooters instead of on a horse?
Sorry, what?
It's tradition. This is here as a monument about the past. And also, this is fully operational. This thing was built to last. A lot of modern technology becomes obsolete after a few years. This was built in the 1960s and still works today like it did then. This was made to survive a nuclear explosion and to keep this whole facility running.
Okay, so let's say it does break. How do I get it fixed? I can't imagine you're calling like the person who does your heat pump in Truro. I'd be like, come on out, man. I need some help with my nuclear bunker.
Well, in a way, you kind of can. When the military left this facility to private owners, they left a manual behind. And the manual within it has every detail about how to change every aspect of this and repair it if required. So all you really need is some mechanical know-how and the guts to do it.
And what about the little digital clock right there?
Of course. You found the one piece of this entire facility that has been changed. And it was only because they couldn't find an older piece to fix it. So they had to go with something a little more modern. But if you even look at this, it's not super modern by today's standards.
How secretive was this facility when they were building it?
Incredibly. At the time, they didn't tell anybody what they were doing here. But it is a small community, so people did notice what was going on when there were backhoes and construction teams digging up the ground and building something that was 64,000 square feet.
I'll meet you 50-50 there, because while I bet it was secretive, I know how easily gossip travels in the East Coast. And my grandmother, with a window, would be peeping out, and she would know exactly what's going on here.
Well, you know, it is a small community, and people do talk. So the rumor mill eventually did get running, and after that, people were pretty soon to find out what was going on here.
So at the end of the 1950s, the Canadian government, led by John Diefenbunker, authorized the construction of the emergency government headquarters across Canada. These underground nuclear fallout shelters were built to protect government and military officials as part of the continuity of government plan. Canada and its international partners formed NATO in response to the actions of the Soviet Union in East Germany. And at the heart of the NATO provisions was the agreement that an armed attack against one or more of them in Europe or North America shall be considered an attack on them all. While viewed as a deterrent, Canada could have been pulled into a conflict at any given time.
So the Cuban Missile Crisis brought the world to the edge of nuclear war. So the Americans discover that the Soviets are putting missiles on Cuban soil, 90 miles away from Florida. This dramatically increases the tensions between the United States and the Soviets. As the United States' closest ally, Canada was a bit slow to get involved. So Kennedy was not happy with Diefenbunker. They were not on the same page when it came to Cuba or communism. Diefenbunker gave support to the Americans, but it was not the full support that Kennedy really wanted. Diefenbunker looked to send the United Nations in with inspectors to check out what was going on the ground, and this wasn't the full offensive that Kennedy really wanted in support from Canada.
Diefenbunker eventually put the Canadian troops on alert and supported the blockade, but it was later than the other NATO members would have hoped.
I came here because I really want to gain some experience of what it would have been like to come in here during the Cold War. So would you be able to take me through the different processes and procedures if I came here during like a nuclear disaster?
Absolutely. We can start with step one. I hope you like cold showers.
I don't, but I'm not sure why that matters.
All right, Kyle, welcome to the Diefenbunker decontamination area.
Oh yes, the old Diefenbunk decon.
That's right.
Oh, it's exactly like my junior high school gym.
I imagine the memories you're going to make here are going to be much better than the ones you made then.
Yeah, not likely.
So this is a two-shower system. In the event of a nuclear strike, when you come to the facility, your first stop would be this stall. We let the water wash any radiation dust you may have picked up on the way here. This is all under the supervision of a radiation officer who will be watching you to make sure that you are fully clean and ready to go on to the next step. Now, the next step is where things get interesting. This is where you have to remove all of your clothes and send them down that chute for incineration.
Like naked in front of the officer.
Completely. And then you would step into these showers for another full shower. In that one, you would be fully naked and you would use the water and soap and water to clean yourself off. So then after you are finished, the radiation inspector, once he's happy, will give you a hospital gown and some slippers, and then you'll be off to a medical examination.
Great. Yeah, all that makes sense.
Okay.
I'm good to move on.
Actually, no. You said you want to go through the full bunker experience, so we're going to do just that. And you're going to go through the shower.
Sorry?
You're going to go through the shower right there.
That was a TV show, Andre. It's not real.
Yeah, I get it, but you wanted the full experience, and the full experience is going through the decontamination shower.
Yeah, just like high school.
How long do I need to be in here?
Well, let me ask the radiation specialist. About 5 more minutes.
Oh, this is awful. I do not like this at all. Are you sure there's no heat to this, man?
Now that you're fully free of radiation, you've gone through the shower, you're ready for the next step, which would be a medical examination, and then they'd send you off to your room.
Humiliated.
Well, you know, there's sacrifices to be made during a Cold War, and today, it's your pride.
No, great. Well, thank you so very much. So what happens after this?
Well, once you get to your room, you would get clothed, and then you would be able to go on and start your job. Now, part of the deal here at the facility is you do your job and you stay out of everybody else's way and let them do their jobs. You don't really get involved with other people's work, and they don't get involved in yours.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. If you have, well, actually, how many people would have come here?
But 330 would be in this facility if it was activated.
Oh, really? Okay, so if you have 330 people, then it would make perfect sense where you need the structure.
Absolutely. And in your bunk room, you would have anywhere from 2 to 4 people sharing it with you.
Oh, really? Well, looks like I did all right here on my own then.
Well, you did up until today. You want the full experience, so, well, I'm bunking with you, buddy.
Humiliated.
Minister, welcome to the Regional Government Emergency Headquarters.
Thank you. Now, what can I do to help?
Well, we've assigned you to a specific area to both live and work in. Your cooperation and adherence to this is essential for the safety and effectiveness of this operation.
You can count on me.
Great. I'll have someone show you around.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
I never thought I'd see something like this.
I know. The next group of evacuees would have to stay in the city.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, this can't be another drill. I have no idea what's going on.
Make sure to underline that this is an urgent request for assistance.
Understood.
I'm concerned that we're going to lose communications at some point, so I'm going to need you to forward a full list of assets arrived as soon as possible.
Okay.
Just waiting on the updated numbers.
Minister, we must keep moving.
Here in a remote region of Canada, on the spot this week visits a key base in the North American defense system.
Canada first developed the early warning systems in the 1950s to detect incoming Soviet bombers. These systems included the Dew Line, the Mid Line, and the Pine Tree Line. They were known as the North American Warning Lines. Well, the early warning systems were considered to be significant achievements for Canada that would have provided lots of early warning for preparations to respond, whether with force or with shelter. Pine Tree Line was the first line to be developed in the warning system. It had 44 radar stations across Canada, 3 of which are located in Nova Scotia. Each of the stations were part of NORAD, and they were located in Beaverbank, Barrington, and Sydney.
I know exactly where we are.
Where's that?
We are in the CBC News broadcasting room.
That is absolutely correct.
This is where the so-called announcers of doom would work.
Yeah, so-called because they would have to give all the grisly details to the nation about the possible nuclear strike.
Yeah, I can imagine today it'd be more of like a social media post. Be like, hey guys, FML.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Sad face emoji, hashtag thoughts and prayers.
You know, if I was stuck down here, I could see myself recording a pretty good album in this room.
Yeah, you can make a pretty sick metal album, you know. The announcers of doom present the end of the world.
What would you say to the nation if this was you?
I'm more interested in what you would say. You want to experience the bunker, so why don't you address the nation and tell them what you would say in the event of a nuclear strike?
Okay. G'day. Been a tough one out there today. We really took her on the chin. But
You know, we're gonna keep our sticks on ice, and we're gonna get back out there. But, you know, we're the very best up here in the old Diefenbunker, and,
we appreciate the taxes that got us here. Amen? Yeah, I wouldn't be good at this at all. No.